Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, very special good afternoon from this Singapore FinTech Festival turned World FinTech Festival, Hyperlocal channel out of Phnom Penh, Cambodia, for the very last day of this week. I'm so happy I don't have to be here alone today, and I have Julian with me, who already moderated 2 sessions this week. But today we have hour and a half. How this one is going to be different?
Well, it's just great to have some folks in the studio for a start.
Absolutely agree.
I think what's special about this one is we really do have the creme de la creme of Cambodia's kind of entrepreneurial class, and I'm really excited to be able to talk to some of these great minds and people who are doing amazing things in the country. So I think without further ado, let's get on and introduce them.
Absolutely, Jules. So I would want to welcome here in studio first, Miss Kunila from Mekalarian Communications. Hi, thanks for being with us.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here today.
We are also joined online by Monika Chum, who is the country manager for Visa. She's out there somewhere. Give us a wave, Monika. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, nice to have you here. Fantastic.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Also online, we have Monypich, founder and CEO of Tube Cafe.
Hello.
Hey, great to have you here.
It's my pleasure here.
That's brilliant. In the studio also here we have Thida Thoung, who is from the Fleur de Sel de Kampot.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be here also.
Great
Thank
to
you
have
so
you.
much.
And now we can go to our gentlemen online. So we have with us Chy Sila from Sabay, I think calling from Kampot today.
Are you on a boat, Sila? It's nice to see you. We also have Mr. Bora Kem, who is the founder of MSP. Hey, Bora.
Hi. Happy Friday.
Good to see you.
And we have with us Borima Chann, co-founder and CEO of Nyam24.
We're also joined
Hi,
by
Borima.
Rithy Thul from Koompi Computers. Hey, Rithy.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Sophorth from Morakot. Hi.
Hi to everyone. Nice to be here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's proceed. Today will be slightly different. It's not typical panel. We would want to have it as a more open communication talk show and share everything when it comes to our failures, our successes, our journey, and not ours specifically. Me and Julian are quite lucky. We have it more towards you guys, so you'll be on the pedestal here. Your journey towards your success and your journey and hardships. How long did it take? Why did you choose path you chose? And whether you have also towards the end some recommendations for our audience that's ranging from young population in Cambodia up to the older fellas out there, as
Folks
well as
like
the audience
us,
from
Thomas.
Singapore.
People like us, in other words.
Well, yeah. Jules, do you want to take it away with first question or first kind of segment description?
So I think what we're going to do here is just go around the panel. Is that right? That's what we're going to do here?
I would say so.
We're going to go around the panel and ask everyone very briefly to introduce themselves and their business, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty with some questions. So I think let's start, ladies first, of course. Let's start
Absolutely.
here in the studio. Kunila, why don't you just give us a brief introduction to yourself and to your business? Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So, first of all, thanks very much for having me here. My name is Kunila Kayo. I'm a co-founder of Mekalarian Communications, which is a communications agency based out of Cambodia. I had 6-7 years of experience working as a journalist and working in international development before. Thank you.
Thida, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your business?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Thida Thoung. I'm a founder of Thoung Enterprise, which is more focusing on agriculture part, especially on salt industry in Cambodia. Yeah.
Thanks for being with us. Online we have Monika. Monika, why don't you share something about you?
Hi. My name is Monika Chum. I'm a country manager for Visa Cambodia. Visa is a payment technology company. We work with banking institutions. We're working with FinTech company. and other agency to drive digital penetration in the country. Thank you.
What about you, Monypich?
Hi, hello everyone. Good evening. So my name is Monypich, and I am the co-founders and CEO of Thug Cafe, one of the Cambodian coffee local chain here in Phnom Penh.
That's great. Thank you very much. Bora, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and MSP?
Hi, I'm a partner at Mekong Strategic Partners. We are a mergers and acquisition advisory where we work with companies to raise capital or sell their shares. We're also an investor, and specific to this conversation, where we invest into great startups. We have two here with Nyam24 and Morakot. Excited to be here and have these conversations.
And Rithy, turning to you now, tell us a bit about yourself and about Koompi.
Rithy on mute.
You need to unmute yourself. Surely you know your way around a computer keyboard.
Yeah, I'm not a very techy person. So, yeah, hi, my name is Rithy. I'm a co-founder of Koompi, a company that's trying to pursue one specific dream, is to provide one laptop for every student across Cambodia, and hopefully other way in the world too. And yeah, thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you, Rithy. Sila, what about you? What anything you can add to what everybody already knows?
What, me?
Yes, Sila. Just brief intro for those who might be coming late into the session.
I can tell them everything I know about you, Sila, if you'd prefer. I think you're on mute, mate.
So maybe before we get to Sila, let's
Hi, everybody.
Oh, okay. So we have him back. Good.
This is Sila from Sabay Digital Corporation. Obviously, the company has determined, and recently we started our CEO started. Should I continue?
Yes, go ahead.
Sabay has invested into some definitely we also try to offer a lot of solutions to from Fleur. That's it.
Thank you, Sila. I guess, gentlemen and ladies on the panel and also in front of your screens, you see that infrastructure in Cambodia is not bad. However, we still need some improvements. With that, Borima, can you introduce briefly yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Borima from Nyam24. We are an app initially a online food ordering and delivery application, and has evolved into a multi-service application which include managing our beyond foods like grocery, e-shopping, express delivery services, and the taxi ride hailing very soon. I'm pleased to be here with you all to share what we have been through. Thank you.
And last gentleman on the panel, brief introduction, please.
Microphone.
Please unmute.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Sophorth. I am a CEO and co-founder of Morakot Technology. Thanks for having me here. And Morakot is a software company. We provide a core banking software solutions to the banks and microfinance institutions. Currently, we are serving more than 45 institutions, microfinance and banks in Cambodia and Myanmar. And we've been in business for like more than 5 years. Thanks.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for introductions. With that, I would want to move to kind of segment one of this discussion. And, you know, many people at home probably seeing you and hearing from you, taking inspiration from you, they might think, okay, they are there, they're on top. They have their own businesses, or they're running their businesses, they're running businesses for somebody else. But simply, they've achieved what they needed to achieve. But is it really true? So was it always that easy, or you know what led towards where you are now? Maybe to shift it around. Usually we start with ladies in studio. Maybe we can start with Monika. What was the journey to where you are now, and was it always kind of? Did it come like this? Did you just appear to be general manager of Visa for Cambodia?
Well, to be honest, it's not that you can't just starting it up and then and being here today without going through a lot of rough journey. And for me personally, before I'm here, I've been through so many different work, different streams, starting from a garment factory and then moving into petroleum, moving into a research company where I met and worked with Borima at the time. I then moving on into a different road, joined FinTechs, and then bang, and here I am today. So it's take many years to craft yourself to be where I am.
Thank you, Moni. Jules, who next?
Let's turn to Sila now, because I've heard his backstory and it is fascinating. So Sila, please introduce or tell us a bit about how you got to be where you are and the challenges and the journey that took you there.
Where do I start? Well, if we started from the technology company, Sabay has been around for the last 13 years in Cambodia. We started as an online game company. Back then, the internet in Cambodia is very slow, very expensive, and very few people are really using internet for communication. Although we talk about 2007, still not very popular. Nobody talks about online content. Back then we had to deploy, when we publish the game, we have to deploy our own ISP, and we have to set up our own data center, and we have to create our own billing system, which is our current payment backbone today that allows the user to access our digital token or digital currency. So yeah, it's been a journey and a lot of work that we have to force ourselves to do rather than buying or rather than looking for outsourcing. This is pretty much on in-house, which just give us a lot of experience and gain a lot of milestones. Later on, we can be developed to many other different products, different projects. Sabay has been up and down. We've been learning from the trend. We've been learning from the different technology and also different change of era. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the internet from dial-up to ADSL to fiber optic to wireless to Wi-Fi, and today we talk about 4G, 5G. So this is the evolution of the internet. And in the same time also, people access to content, entertainment also has been a long evolution. For example, in our game industry, from the arcade game to video games to they call LAN game, it's like a closed loop 5 to 10 people play game. And up to one point they call multiple player, that people can play the game around the world. And today the trend is people playing the game through phone. And industry has been growing tremendously. Like now it grew up to $100 billion industry for within talking about 5 to 10 years. So through this evolution, we've been through the challenge and we can learn and grow up together along the way. Yeah, all I can say it's a journey that Sabay has been through, and myself also. I can the same like Rithy. I'm not a tech guy, so but along the way we learned a lot, and then we I can say that the work has taught me to stay and grow, even though it's like right now we talk about COVID, and then we know that how to stand and combat with this kind of pandemic, how to really survive through this difficult time. But yeah, that's where Sabay, and Sabay will be in the future also be growing along the way. Like I said, we will focus on FinTech also, that we see this opportunity that we will grow. I think recently our part of the investment also we just added into we call future trade. I think this is another new business that we're looking at. It's very new in Cambodia, I think, but it's happening in many other countries that going commodity trade, future trade. Those are stuff that we will tap in through the online system. Yeah, it will come in the next 1 or 2 years. Yeah.
Always looking for the next adventure, Sila. You introduced Rithy there, so let's hear from Rithy, because again, a serial entrepreneur, but someone who's also done a lot to support other entrepreneurs in Cambodia through initiatives like Small World. Rithy, tell us a bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, thank you, Wong, for putting me on spot. I think, I mean, I can look back and start where it led to where I am now was a process of lots of failure. The first failure was failing to receive scholarship to go to university, and a few scholarships that I applied. Basically, every scholarship I applied, I failed, and I ended up studying only English in a normal school. So, in my opinion, while studying those in the 2 years program, I realized I will not go anywhere far with doing a normal degree that I do. So I decided to take a break for 2 years, and that was never finished 2 years. My 2 years now since 2006 until now, never go back to school, and end up learning many things along the way, learning program, learning about internet, falling into the internet trap, and falling in love in computer, and then that led me to work with young people, because I realized if I continue to go on adventure with my bicycle, travel, I will be out of date. So that's how I stumbled upon the idea of starting Small World, where we can organize meetings and work with young people. So I can always hang out with young people. It doesn't matter how old I can be. Then the idea that young people come in to Small World, they need computer, and there's not many computer link, basically easily to learn program or other internet related project. So that led me to the idea of starting a operating system design where students can take it and use, maybe fit with what they need, and if they have any problem, we can help them right away and quickly. Yeah, but throughout those years, it's not that fast. It has been since 2006 until now. It's like 14 years almost. This is a very long journey. Looking back, it's very short, but it has been a lot of down and then a few lucky up. And some people see that, oh, we did this, we did that, but it's a lot of issue along the way. But those are the issues that actually help us learn and become stronger and realize that any obstacle are just part of the challenge that we have to overcome, and it's not the end of the world. So yeah, that's what I learned. This is not an advice to anybody.
Thank you, Rithy. While we were focusing on our online audience, we almost forgot our fellow panelists here. Thida, you shared with me a very interesting story backstage. You mentioned that, because we call it founder success stories and everything, and you said, I'm not founder, I'm farmer. I was like looking at it, how this one come together? Can you intrigue us a little bit?
Thank you so much, Thomas, for giving a little bit brief about myself, because a little bit funny, like people are coming here for a FinTech festival while I'm just being a farmer, that more focusing on farming. But it's really interesting to go and sharing some things about myself, because of being a farmer is not really bad though, because I can say this journey that I make up founding my company, founder of Thoung Enterprise, which is the first leading company that promoting our soul. Because people in Cambodia, most likely they call me Sabay in Cambodia. Yeah, I don't mind calling me Sabay. We are the first people to introduce our soul product to the international recognition, because we also export outside as well, which is the first history in Cambodia that nobody cares more about our soul, especially the local product from Cambodia at all. But we're trying to take out this treasure to the world to let know that how Cambodia look like, and also to get involved some more about technology, because we had to adapt to that. But we feel a little bit so proud on that, on our achievement. But I want to just say, Miss Soul is on the spotlight right now. Oh, she's so more successful and so on and that. But people are just see the force in. Just like people just see the surface of people to evaluate the success, but they don't know how to build a success. It's a long journey that they need a lot of hardship, a lot of struggle, a lot of challenge that they have to do more. For myself, within this journey, because we're starting like almost 4 years right now, with startup business is not really easy at all. You have to, because my background is not business at all. My background is about law, which is converting from a law skill to entrepreneur, and especially a farmer skill as well. And you're not coming from a sophisticated family, but a farmer family, which is more like another challenge for you in terms of financial, in terms of like family background to go for networking and so on and that. But it's not part of that. The challenge is just like, no matter how you are doing, you can set yourself to go to overcome this challenge by yourself. You even though sometimes you have to be discriminated by the people, because my background is from a small village, a small island in Kampot province, which is my homeland. So some people they feel like, oh, that girl is just like having a very small mindset, and just like she's not really intelligent at all to go. But I don't care much about that. We're trying to seeking for another challenge that we have. Okay, let's say going into business, entrepreneur, you have to start up yourself. You need to foresee how the risk or how the challenge that you are willing to deal on that, and respond on that in terms of financial, in terms of strategy, in terms of business networking. Yeah. This is how the journey of myself and also enterprise within this 4 years look like. Yeah.
Thanks, Thida. You mentioned few interesting points that we will be for sure coming back to. So keep your comments in mind, because we will be coming back to it. Next to you we have Kunila, and I know the two of you, Kunila and Thida, you know each other, and so kind of it brought me to Kunila's background, has background in journalism, by the way, same like Jules. And suddenly you just woke up one morning and opened PR agency. Really? Is it that easy? Because I like PR. I want to just jump into it tomorrow or something. Tell me how did you do it?
Well, that's a pretty long journey. I didn't wake up one day and wanted to be an entrepreneur or anything. My dream was to become a professor. I wanted to teach when I was a child. And then I got into journalism when I was 17, 18 years old. And then I visited the last stronghold of the Khmer Rouge. That's modern history right there. And I worked my way to become like a writer, a feature writer. I spent 5-6 years with journalism, and then I went into international development. And then I had an opportunity to go and study in Singapore. I got really, really inspired by people there to start up something. And I got back to Cambodia, and I realized that I could no longer work for corporate, so I had to do something. So yeah, the opportunity presented itself, and I grabbed it, and here I am with you all. And I always say this to everyone that I meet, like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You focus on your passion, your dream, and then, you know, you're gonna find something else along the way. So I found this business. I founded it with my friend, and yeah, it's been there have been ups and downs. It's not always like a flowers and roses right there, but it's been great. Thank you.
Bora, I saw you nodding away enthusiastically there. Now, at MSP, you obviously work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're helping develop through various initiatives an entrepreneurial spirit in Cambodia. But tell us about your own background and how you came to be working in such an influential position as such a young man.
I might be a bit older than I look, but no, honestly, I'm very humble to be in this group. Because honestly, professionally, it was always been pretty straightforward and boring for me. So professionally, coming to where I am has been not too challenging of a journey, to be honest. And that's kind of my career path as well. I honestly been just extremely lucky ever since I got out of school to work for great companies, work with great bosses, have great mentors, have great teachers along the way. And I think if there's some advice there, is that it's better to be lucky. And so when I moved back from America 5 years ago, I was very fortunate to find the partners that I'm working with now, who has the same ideas and the same concept as to what's missing in the market. And to me, it was just a matter of finding the right people, and then, you know, as they say, 90% of life is just showing up and meeting the right people and casting. So I got super lucky there. And obviously through the job, I'm able to meet everybody on this panel, and feel incredibly grateful that, you know, again, luck has a lot to do with it. It wasn't a struggle for me, honestly. What I think is a struggle, though, is maybe a longer journey, a life journey, and a journey that has to do with asking yourself, who are you, what's your goal in life, and how do you get there? So for me, there's two moments where I feel that way. The first is, when I moved to America when I was 10, and then the second time that I feel this way was, deciding to move back to Cambodia. Which I think is all about, everybody I think has this big question mark, what is my role, where's my place in life? So to me that's something that is the uneasy part. It wasn't that difficult, but it was certainly a long journey in the process.
Thanks for your very candid observations there, Boris. It's very interesting to hear. Monypich, you've obviously taken on a business with a lot of competition, particularly strong international competition. Tell us how, that takes a lot of bravery and courage to go up against the likes of Starbucks and Costa and others. Tell us how did you sort of muster the courage to get into such a competitive space?
Well, it's quite a long way as well. We've been spending almost 3 years just only to build this local Cambodian brand, and it's very competitive, which is we were in a lifestyle market of the coffee here, which is Starbucks and Browns, but actually because we are seeing the market in a takeaway market. And at that time, if I am not wrong, there is one franchise brand from Thailand that they just entered Cambodia. That's why we are seeing the market exists, and we wanted to build something on our own local brand. And our long-term vision is just to bring this Cambodian local brand into the international market. And we do really hope that by building our human capital as well as our branding and working with the other stakeholders here in Cambodia is helping us to develop this local brand into the international stage. So I guess it's pretty long way for us to start from zero until somewhere that we are having a lot of people that they are supporting this local brand. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, now to Sophorth and Borima. So first with Sophorth and Borima, we have our FinTech and technology guys on the panel. So of course, I had to bring this up. And both of you actually competing in different sectors, but competing against big boys out there. So Sophorth with Morakot, how did you survive this, and how did you make it this far in such a competitive environment?
Yeah, actually, in my sector, the solution that we provide is not something like in the crowded market. You know, not many solution provider at the moment in the market. We started like 5 years ago. Actually, before I started Morakot, I was working for one of the big microfinance in Cambodia, and with that kind of experience and expertise, and it helped me build the system. So my background are mainly in IT. I was in charge of head of IT, you know, so mostly dealing with the system implementations. And what I found out, the system is like quite expensive to implement, and it also consume a lot of time to implement as well, because most of the system were built for the bank, not really for microfinance institutions. So when it comes to microfinance, it would be a lot of customizations. And with this in mind, you know, it takes some time and also a lot of issue, you know, back and forth. And I foresee that this is some kind of opportunity that we can build something just for microfinance. And then I met with some other two co-founders, which is our co-workers as well, that we were working in the same company, and then we decided to start our own company or our own solution. We built it from scratch based on our experience, the real practical work that we have. And I foresee that actually there was some challenge when we started out, because we are just the local software company, not really have a very good acceptance at first, you know, and people don't really trust us very much. But we try to convince them by asking them to see our product demo and try our product first and see how it works. But when people try it, they love it. They say, okay, this is something work, and it actually more efficient than they should buy it from somewhere else. And in terms of cost, I think it's very competitive as well. If you go for any standard software, it would cost you at least $500,000 to start with, and at least 6 months time to implement. But for us, you know, we can do it in like less than, you know, like 3 times of the price if they bought it from outside. And the implementation could take them just only, normally 5 weeks time to implement the system. And another thing that we can compete with other software, especially from Europe and from some big player out there, because our own expertise as being a local. When I say expertise being a local, because we know the local regulatory, this is something that we win over other software company, that we know exactly what we are doing here. We know how those things should be fully complied, all of that. And we also have a very strong local support team as well. We speak the same language. There is no communication barrier, you know, comparing to some supporting people, you know, from overseas or from India. You know, it's not easy to communicate because of the culture difference and all of that. I think this is how we compete and how we stay survival. And the business model itself, because we are not B2C, we are purely B2B. Most of our clients are banks and microfinance. So the business model is like they pay us on annual basis, and that is 20% of our annual, 20% of our initial fee. And so we are okay during this COVID crisis because all of that has been paid at the beginning of the year. And we of course still resilient and still survive during the crisis.
Thank you. See, Borima, now to you. Essentially, you know, I love this role today, what I have, because I can always start. One day you woke up and you started it. So Sophorth essentially mentioned a lot of interesting points, mainly about he saw the gap on the market, he saw the price advantage that he can come in. He mentioned communication barriers were not there because he has local team. You started purely as a local company, but it was already when you started, you knew that there will be big players coming to the market. What really prompted you to continue the journey? What prompted you to actually start something that is now incredibly successful, but wasn't for sure easy because there was the looming light that somebody big might just come and take over the market and take it away from you?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. I would like to share my journey. It has been quite a journey. Prior to starting Nyam 24, I had spent nearly 20 years working with the various big and small companies, including like Coca-Cola, the social marketing organization, PSIs, the telco companies, and also including the technology company, tobacco, the man, a bunch of them. But mostly my focus background would be in the sales and marketing since then. But since at the universities, I have passionated very strongly about tech, about e-commerce, and my dream is to start my own company at one day. But due to many factors that I end up working for nearly 20 years. However, I successfully quitted my job in 2016 when I see the market is more than ready to start my dream. I saw the internet penetration was so good at that time. The 3G coverage was so good. Smartphone penetration is so high. People carry 2 smartphones or even 3 smartphones at the same time in a coffee shop. You see, all those. So I decided to start my e-commerce journey by choosing food delivery as the starting point. Yeah, it has been quite challenging to quit a job and start something completely new. At that time, we were the very first company that introduced mobile application for food or drinks at that time, and nobody ever know about it. You talk to local people, will ask you what is it, you know, are you coming from another planet? And yeah, after 2 years of the startup, we proved what we're doing was working. We managed to get funding from MSP, Sadif, and the funding fueled our goals to where we are right now. And we have evolved our service offering to the market beyond food category. Along the way, we introduced other interesting category for our customers, like grocery, delivery, flowers. Recently, we introduced the alcohol as well as the pharmaceutical products, and the express delivery service, the on-demand delivery request and booking. And very soon, we will also introduce the ride-hailings. to build our logistic network to complete our ecosystem. So yeah, it has been challenging, difficult along the ways, but we managed to make it work. And as you said, we knew from the start that this kind of business will be very competitive. When I started at that time, the market is so green, so blue. But we knew the rate is coming, so we put our strategy in place to make this business grow very fast and go big very fast, so that the competition will be difficult. Yeah.
Thank you, Borima. I will slowly transition to our second segment of this discussion. Jules, I have a question for you, essentially. We've been this week together here moderating few sessions. You mentioned, again, before we started, that practically you didn't have any ladies on the panel before. I actually had also didn't. Just the day before, panel before us, there were few ladies. Other than not, right? So we can say that in this industry and in the market, there is still big prominence of male in leadership positions. However, also, for example, I heard on my green finance panel that I was moderating before that there was, for example, when it comes to lending, majority of the population from urban, from rural areas are female who actually take microfinance loan and front it to, for the families, essentially, right? So there is exposure towards female in business and in finance, but maybe towards the negative side of it. There is not enough of them in the business. What other challenges do we have before we move to our ladies here on the panel and walk through their journey?
Me. Can see, I think this might be part of the problem. No, I mean, I do get your point, and it has been quite surprising to me, actually, how male-dominated a lot of these panels are. They've all been very interesting discussions, but again, I think as we look around the globe, there's a lot more attention on diversity and inclusion. I think this is a fantastic thing. I think the more diverse and inclusive your businesses are, the more successful they're going to be, because they just represent that many more points of view, that many more perspectives. And I think, you know, judging by this panel, I think we should be very encouraged, but I know it's not just a given that we're here at this point where we have colleagues like Quinella and Thida and Monypich and Monika on the panel here today. I think this has involved a lot of sacrifice and a lot of struggle. I still don't quite understand why you're asking me this question. I think we should address the question immediately to my right. Quinella, tell me, I mean, it is obviously, you know, a traditional society here, and traditionally, traditional societies tend to be male-dominated. So tell me how some of the challenges that you've faced, you know, both practical and emotional, perhaps, in terms of getting to the position you are, where you're actually a business leader and someone who people look up to.
Thank you very much for posing this question for me. So starting from my previous experience as a journalist, I always felt lonely because if I, went to seminars or press conferences, I would only find another woman journalist in the room, and she was probably in her 40s, and I was like the only young woman in the room. It was quite a lonely journey, but I've always focused on my passion and what I always ask myself what I wanted to do. I became a journalist at the age of 17, 18, went to different places and had to fake a lot of courage to do the work. It was a lot of faking courage. And I found that I also had to prove myself a lot. But I was also fortunate to be mentored by some really good male bosses who would teach me without patronizing me. And then I got into this business. So I paid forward. I tried. To be honest, I found sometimes both men and women could be patronizing others. So in my job, because I have the opportunity to recruit. So I welcome diversity, like you mentioned. I believe in that, giving opportunities to both men and women, young boys and girls to learn something. So yeah, I find myself lucky in some situations, but also find myself in difficult situations where I have to prove myself, and I think it's still a learning process, trying to weather trouble or problems. But I believe in determination. If we really want it, we can really do it. It doesn't matter you're a guy or a girl.
And I think in an urban setting like Phnom Penh, you're going to have it's going to be a little bit easier, as opposed to perhaps in a rural setting, Thida, where you work. How do you find that, in terms of your acceptance in the business community, be it in agriculture or other communities, as a woman? Do you find that there's a difference between the way you might be treated at a meeting in Phnom Penh versus your dealings down in your province with other business partners?
Well, of course, we found a lot of different things because we back then to the rural area, especially in my hometown, there's a lot of like community people, especially we call farmers and that they have another perspective to go on focusing how to survive per day, not just focusing on business and entrepreneurial life like in the city life. And coming back here, we see a lot of different level of business people, especially women. So I see a lot of people like Cornelia. She has a lot of talent in terms of marketing, digital life, and so on and that. And coming back to see how I could do more to support my community back then. So that's why we see the challenge itself toward our community. Like I was thinking like how could we do? Overcome those challenge being like a Cambodian woman to go this kind of business or entrepreneurial life, because being Cambodian woman sometimes it's traditional way to go like, why you just to go and work in the office getting a comfortable life rather than to go and fight a lot of challenge, because being a farmer or doing at the farming or being like working with community is not really easy life at all. You have to go, you have to struggle, you have to work under the sunlight, and there's a lot of work to sacrifice. But the thing just like you have been asking yourself whether you are really like it or not, and one day it's really fit to your purpose or life or not, because one day you probably wake up and keep smiling all the time, even it's a little bit harder than you are thinking of working in something that more comfortable. So I jump out for the comfortable zones and then exploring, because I could say this, I'm still exploring the thing and learning process the same way as being like, because I'm still young, even though I look a little bit older, but I'm still young. Yeah, and keep learning all the time and follow my passion, because it is the best way that motivate me all the time to go and moving myself forward, and also my commitment, because without commitment, passion, we cannot go and we cannot achieve by yourself, and we cannot find yourself who you are and who you want to be at all. This is what I can share over here. And also, I just want to be one of the person who can share all the time, and sharing to people, especially the next generation, that what we can do, what we can support, or what we can contribute back to our society. Because one day it's not about you are having or possession, but it's all about you are sharing to people to learn more together and that.
And it's also about blazing a trail, as Cornelia said, paying it forward.
Yeah, that's really true.
Monika, I've got a question for you, because you've obviously experienced local business and international business. And I think what we talk about a lot with international businesses like Visa that come to Cambodia is we talk about skills transfers. Are we beginning to see more of perhaps what we might call values transfers, where the values of gender equality, diversity and inclusion that international businesses espouse more and more, are we beginning to see those kinds of that kind of mindset transposing itself onto the local stage here, do you think?
Thank you for the questions, Julian. So let me elaborate in two different perspectives. From a local perspective first, where I personally been through the whole career journey path, where I observe. So for example, like sitting here with another three amazing women in this forum is a remarkable achievement. I used to be in a panel with Thomas in a different session where I was the only female person over there. So now I can see that we are
Thomas's
4.
fault.
So the number is definitely growing. And also there's another point that I wanted to add on is that let's not just looking at gender as in, whether male or female, how are we going to make this equal, etc. I would put it as starting it off with you yourself, believe in yourself first, whether you are male or female. When I was much younger than this, I used to have this kind of fear of the inferiority, that I am a woman, that I have to prove myself, I have to work harder to constantly proving that I deserve to sit at the table. But when I was much younger, when I'm reaching this age, that is not true. And first and foremost, start from female within your community. Reaching out to your female within the community and supporting each other. And then, I'm very lucky as well to have a lot of fantastic male colleagues that is also supporting and wanting to see women grow within their journey. And back to your question about the change and how can international company and a Cambodian woman working for a global company, and how do I see in terms of the value that has been transformed, a big change in between the two different worlds or cultures. I would say that at Visa, we really value diversity and inclusion. And diversity and inclusion in here, not just differences between gender. Much more, gender is just one component. There's a different point of view, there's a different way of thinking. And we should expand this beyond just gender, but also looking into bringing in new ideas. And I like Rithy mentions about him hanging out with young people so that he can diverse his thought and bring new perspective in. So what I have seen is that is the change and the culture that we bring in also. And at the same time, the global company also learn to interact and work with the local market and understand further on that front.
Thank you, Monika. Monypich, before we actually, I want to give these questions to everybody, but before we go into it, also as one of our female panelists, would you say that you had to go extra mile and just because you are female, and compared to before, do you think that now it's still the same, that ladies still in Cambodia facing inequalities, disparities, or has it started improve? And specifically in your case, your industry, but also across the entrepreneurship community you are moving along?
Well, yes, I guess it's 100% that we need to go an extra mile. It's not because just only it's the existing business, but because of we craft everything from scratch. We are building the brand from zero, and also especially when we are competing in this industry as well. For food and beverage, I guess it's quite hard for us to understand about the operations, for us to understand about how to managing all of your operative staff and how to keep the SOP, the standard operating procedure, is there. Well, and I guess because of previously in the F&B industry, most of the male dominant, and just now, like we can see in this panel discussion, we are having 4 female rising leaders, and most of them are entrepreneurs like Kunila, like Miss Salt, that we've been knowing their brand in this local market. And I guess because of we are moving forward, that's why all of the challenges that we are foreseeing, all of the things that we're going to manage, we wanted to pursuing all of the good cause to the society, not just only for the business itself. And in my company, we wanted to contribute back as much as we could into our society. That's why by building the human capital is very important. And at the end of the day, education is the most important one. And I guess not only for the female employee, but we also crafting the education standard to all of my male employees as well. So I do encourage most of the female leaders here in Cambodia that they are able to inspire some of the entrepreneurs and also some of the other students to be successful in the future as well.
Bora, a question for you in your capacity as an investment advisor. Do you think these questions of diversity and gender equality and inclusion are becoming more important to investors as we look around? Are people actually challenging investment decisions based on, you know, how empowering they are for different communities and across the country?
Well,
Yeah.
This was a question for Bora.
Sorry, yeah, absolutely. Sorry if I interrupted you, but absolutely. And, you know, I think there's an aspect of this which is, you know, corporate social responsibility and, you know, all that, you know, being politically correct and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it's a recognition that more diverse companies do better. And that's statistically significant. And so any portfolio that has a concentration on male founders, for example, is bound to miss the opportunity, the market opportunity, right? And I think that at the end of the day, it's kind of on us as the male leader within our organization to, you know, do three things. One is to understand the biases that we have as men making decisions about investments. Two is to realize that, you know, because of the biases, we're not able to see a different side of the market and how it's changing. So, for example, you know, personally, I wouldn't see the opportunities for social selling of cosmetics, but I think that's something that, you know, is very intuitive for, you know, a lot of on the consumer side for women. And so having the diverse perspective, I think, is always healthy. And I think as colleagues and coworkers, it's also up to the gentlemen on this, colleagues to understand that, you know, being a mom is very different, have different expectations. And so it's just a matter of being good coworkers to kind of put different priorities into perspective to make a great company. So I think it's a very sensible thing. It's, you know, maybe it has a different label or however you want to put it, but to me, it's common sense.
Thanks, Bora. Guys, albeit I would want to actually stay on this topic and discuss this more. I think that we should catch up on this and continue this discussion sometimes after. In remaining portion of the time, I think we have 15-20 minutes. Yeah, time flies. It's terrible. One question towards everybody, and it's essentially something that I've been facing a lot when speaking to local startup communities. I feel that a lot of youngsters, a lot of young entrepreneurs, they face tremendous pressure. They are essentially not being pushed to, but offered entrepreneurship is some holy grail, something that they need to pursue. When they go to startup competitions, they being told, you just try, keep trying, you know, failing. I admire learning through failure, absolutely. But is it really necessary? Will we grow entrepreneurs out of everybody, right? Or do we have, you know, how do we encourage our youngsters and our young population to essentially find peace in what passion they feel?
Maybe Rithy can talk to that. I think that's he's
absolutely. We can start with Rithy. Yeah.
Although he has been dismantling his backdrop since we started. Carry on, Rithy.
With that, I have been very outspoken about too many events suggesting young people to start a startup. I used to be one of them when one of the person who pushed people to start a company. when we in the early day of small world, I believe that anyone can become anything they want to become, because the only barrier is that they don't work through it. But then after 5 years of small world, working with several startups, several teams, seeing that there are people who actually going to be more successful starting and running their own company, and there are going to be people who are more successful and more happy in life if they run a company with a team that already set with structure. Myself, I like things that with structure. I mean, less structure. The less structure, with some chaos, it's things that give me the drive to solve the problem. When there's structure come in, it feels like nothing else to do, because all you need to do is to wake up and follow the structure. So this was like the early day. I've been saying so many times to everyone that I met that you can start your own company if that is what you really want. But lately, I mean, in the last three years or so, there are too many people want to start a company just because they want to start a company, not because they are passionate about any specific problem that they want to solve. It's just that I want to. I mean, they may not think like that, but unconsciously, it's like they want to have their own thing on their business card that I'm a co-founder of this business. And I think that is not really right. We need to speak more out to everybody that focus more on problems that they are passionate about. And that's what Gunilla has been saying. Some of us in the panel saying that, I mean, everyone who's starting the project here or running the company here, not because they see the opportunity. Of course, opportunity is part of the journey, part of the starting point, but there's something beyond that, and that's what makes people more successful than the other who just do it for the money.
Thank you. Monika, before the next one, just can you quickly react? You actually chose completely different path, not necessarily entrepreneurship, starting your own business, but you are a great example of especially female business leader who actually chose a business career as your career path. Can you give some words of advice of people that balancing entrepreneurship versus business corporate career?
Thank Thomas for your kind word. My only advice is stay true to who you are. And if you start doing something with the word try, someone close to me keep on telling me that he hates the word try. Don't try, do it. And when you set your mind to do something with a strong determination and passions, you will understand that it's okay to course correct. It's okay to make mistake. It's okay to change and adapt. So that's why when you look at my career path, I have tried, but it doesn't work until one point that I said enough with the try and start doing it, right? And then find what is true to your heart and identify your passions.
Sophorth, do you, having worked for a large institution which, as Rithy said, is very much process-driven and structured, like the microfinance, was it for you a natural step to kind of leave that all behind and do your own thing and start your own business? Was it a difficult transition, and do you ever regret leaving the kind of the womb, the safety and the comfort of working for a large employer where your job is pretty safe, or used to be before COVID, of course, and where you know what the next day will bring and the day after that, and you know when your holidays are coming, etc. Has it been a big challenge to move from that into a far more kind of Wild West world of entrepreneurship?
I would say that I would never regret move from the corporate life to start my own company. Actually, there's some challenges as well. At the first time, you feel like, hey, because when you work for a corporate company, you work for your boss, you work for the company, and you focus on your work, focus on your KPI, stuff like that. But when you start your own company, it's something else. It's not just KPI, but it's all about the solution. It's about satisfying your customer and also satisfying your employee as well. And I would say that my journey in entrepreneur life, I would be very much happy, and actually it also because we love to provide people with a solution. We like to help people, and I think this is something that I would love to do and continue to do this.
Thank you. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, we have actually roughly 5 minutes to go, I believe. So with that, I would want to come back to our homework, if you remember what we gave ourselves to homework. We said 60 seconds elevated pitch, because we have, I think, I see 6, 8, 9 panelists here. Please.
I think we've lost Sila.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back. Let's see. But can you give us 1 minute advice to young entrepreneurs out there, young business leaders out there, people who trying, who keep failing, and who keep finding their ways? What would you tell them for 2021 onward? Because it wasn't easy for you. It's still not easy for you, but you are here, you keep going. So if you can, and I'll be glad to stop
answer a question that lasted 2 minutes in 1 minute.
Exactly. 60 seconds, please, for each.
Okay, I can take on this because mine is going to be very, very short.
Wow. Okay.
Well, my advice has been, has been consistent. Everywhere is big. I think it's important to do evaluation because that's a very important process. You know yourself, you know what you want to do, and then you review what has happened to you or what you've done, and then. Of course, if you don't know the answer, of course, there are a lot of people, resources that you can go to, and which you can actually tap on to get some ideas, and then I think you make decisions because decisions mean even if it's wrong or right, you take responsibilities for it. After that, you make your own decisions. So back to like your question, like if someone fail a lot of times. Then you have to ask yourself why you fail, right? And then you can make your own decision. So and I think we had this fun discussion at backstage as well, like whether we recommend. I recommend everyone to go into entrepreneurship. I do not recommend everyone to go into entrepreneurship. It's not for everybody. But if you feel like you want to do it, then go for it, right? So that's my answer. 2 minutes, right?
Well, it's fair. It's fair. I deserve it. Thida.
Well, for me, I think like Kunilas mentioned earlier, not everyone can be entrepreneur or own a company or business. But the thing just like you had to focus on yourself and trust on yourself that you are willing to do it or not. Because if you're not really ready to give yourself into challenging, so don't go for entrepreneur life at all because it needs a lot of struggle and hardship to work on that. And I could say my success right now is not about my business growing, it's about myself who not really giving up and I'm still survive right now. So this is what I can share to people and also the young generation. Like if they really want to go and try again and again, just go for that and don't give up and keep going and still survive. That's what I can share. Yeah.
Fantastic, Thida. Borima, do you have something, a minute summation of advice that you can give to the people watching?
Oh, well, yes, my piece of advice would be this, entrepreneur's life, you can find it fun as long as you are so passionate about what you're doing. Then you don't feel you work in a day, but trust me, it comes with a lot of sacrifice to make it work. So if it is not what you really love doing, then just stay in the job, learn something until you definitely find the thing that you really want to do and change, then you jump all into it. Most of a startup fail or give up because it is not really what you're passionate about. So you just saw some people doing something, and then you just want to do the same. If that is the case, then just don't waste your time. Stay in the job, learn some skill. This is my piece of advice.
Very good advice indeed. Rithy? Rithy, can you share with us a brief nugget of wisdom?
Okay, just a brief. I think do what they can. I mean, if they want to start a business, start with what they can do, not what they dream to do. But then hold on to the dream. Like Borima just said, if they are doing something, I believe do it all in. Some people do start a business, start with like one business, and then before they even finish anything, they start another business parallel to each other. Just in case if one fails, they can help on to another. And I think they will ultimately more fail, both of them, than success in any one.
Fantastic advice. Bora?
Yeah, I mean, I think I certainly don't know how to be successful, but I have some advice for
You're so modest.
Happy.
No one's buying it. No one's buying this modesty.
With maybe precondition for success, but basically balance to the extent it's possible. I think having a balance with engagement with your family, having great friends who are supportive, having a community that supports you, do something that's service oriented. I think all those things are necessary preconditions to become a happy person. And I think sometimes career seems to take a lot of time from us, 10, 12 hours a day. But at the end of the day, it's being happy and having the great network around you that helps you through the tough times in life. And to me, that's the only thing that matters.
On behalf of Sila, I'd like to give his advice, which is always have a stable internet connection. Monika, how about from you, please?
Yeah, this advice is not just for anyone, it's also for me. I keep on telling myself these things over and over. What brings you here won't get you there. And I'm using this for me to reflect. Sometimes we are too early to celebrate our success. And we say, that's it, this is it, I've done, I've proven myself. But then if you want to get there, you have to constantly work and polishing up yourself. And that is my philosophy in life, that I need to improve and looking at what else I can improve myself on. And last but not least, look after yourself. Like Bora just said, the fundamental success in life is you. So if you forget looking after yourself, you won't be there. So start here right now. Thank you.
Thank you. What about Monypich? Just words of wisdom.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, you will need to find the inspiration that inspired you at the beginning. Why would you wanted to do that project, or why would you wanted to do that business? And I guess as long as you are finding what you wanted to do in your life, you will be striving for the way to make it happen. And I guess at the end of the day, it's never give up. Just fully committed on what you wanted to do and just go for it.
Thank you. Sila, as Julian mentioned, aside of stable connection, what is your advice for young entrepreneurs and business leaders out there?
Well, I think that the young people nowadays will change. They have their own way. Just launched a new game called, so the tagline is Find Your Fire. Where really make you happy and where really make you passionate about it, go for it. It's real. it's a life. It doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur or not, because I believe the realization of your dynamic make a lot start to see things differently, including some of the people that working so hard every day, taking a lot of time for their life, through their family, they start to realize something is important, something is really valuable, makes sense, or meaningful. It doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have to be in the business yourself. You can be working for people. You can be having a professional many different. I always thought that I'm an artist. I never thought I'm an entrepreneur. That is something that I always in my mind, because I want to do something meaningful, make sense, or something happy, not just me, for make more people happy. Those are things that, if you think about making money, it will make sense for me also. I mean, if you want to make more money, you will make a lot of, not real, but you probably make. So those are things that you have to balance.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sila.
That's what my piece of advice.
That's great, Sila. Thank you. And have a, was that a beer? And have a stable internet connection next time. Sophorth, just very quickly, if you could conclude the round of wisdom. Jeez.
Sophorth?
Find your fire.
Sophorth?
Okay. For me, the piece of advice for the young generation, for the young people here, start doing something that you're good at, and not doing something that you love or you like. Not just that, but also consider something that you're good at. And before you can good at something, you need a skill. You need some experiences. You might work for other company first before you start your own business. It's not like when you know how to code, you know how to develop software. That does not mean you can start a software business or start software company. You need to learn how to do business first, and combining with your technical skills of business and technical, how to bind together before you start a software business.
Fantastic, thank you. Now, I'm going to hijack the end of these proceedings, because I think everyone here owes you a big debt of thanks, Thomas. I think you've done an incredible job pulling this whole thing together.
I'm leaving.
I know exactly when you started working on this. I think it's a debt of thanks that we also need to extend to Remy, to Chanda, to Weena, of course, and to all of the events management team who've been absolutely fantastic, guys. It's been a really, really good event. I think in challenging times to pull this off is a real credit to you, Thomas, and to your team. So well done.
Thank you, Jules.
Thank you, Thomas and Jules.
Guys, I think that we are inspired, at least a little bit smarter than we've been an hour and a half ago. Incredible pleasure meeting you virtually and physically here. Jules, thank you for co-hosting this. And I want to repeat this probably next year, sometime soon. Like this is fun.
It's great. Let's do it again.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
Very much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.